You are trying to lean back and take a little nap. Or maybe open your laptop to do some work. Or watch that movie you've really wanted to see on your device. And you hear the roaring engines behind you of an airplane. But you are shoulder to shoulder with a stranger, resting on what may be a non-wiped down headrest. And the woman in front of you has now flopped her hair over, and there's something. What is it? Crawling on her seat.
You are now stuck on this plane for hours, and among many other communicable ailments lurking on the armrest and in the bathroom.
Wait, what is lurking on the armrest and in the bathroom?
Well, these are things that we're going to discuss on another episode.
Kara, we'd have to do an entire episode on what's in an airplane bathroom.
Right.
Well, now we have to do it because I fly a lot and I'm terrified.
Right. But today we're actually going to be talking about lice and the things that you can do to protect yourself from getting lice.
Welcome to a special episode on lice. We're doing this episode today because just like what happened to Kara, when people get it, they freak out and they forget everything that they already knew about lice because it's happening to them. So, of course, to them, it's an emergency, right?
Yep. And you blank out.
You do. You panic, you blank out, you feel like they're crawling everywhere and that you have to, fumigate your house and, shave your heads. And it's not that bad. So we want to have a go-to place where everyone has somewhere to come to get the tips, the facts on how to comb lice, what to have in a home lice kit. What about traveling and lice? We've got advice about that. And we want to debunk all the myths about lice because there are a ton.
I think having everything in one place is so great. So when if you're totally panicking, you can go there, listen to this episode, and it's all in one place for you. And there's nobody better than the authorities on lice to tell you what to do. And that's my girls.
Oh, gross. That drama's about to end, 'cause gross. Stop asking for a friend, taboos. Icky is what we do, just science. Yeah, it's not so weird. Your gross out journey starts right here on Oh, Gross.
All right, so Kara, I want to back up for just a second here, sister.
Are we still talking about lice?
We are, because I remember not too long ago, actually on our camp episode, when I asked you if you checked Delaney when she got home from camp.
I don't know what you speak of.
And I recall being just a little bit horrified. And I have a confession. I have audio proof. I have a clip that I would like to play for you now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, gross.
My eldest, Delaney, just got back from camp and she was gone for 3 days. I picked her up the other day.
Did you do your lice check when she got home? No.
You better get that comb in that hair.
I know. You know what? I'll do it today because it's only. Now you're making me itchy, Jenny. I didn't.
Oh, gross.
There is no proof that is me.
Girl. Well, no, Kara.
You're right, though. I mean, Jenny, that advice is so good for everyone to know. Like anytime your kids are at camp or they go anywhere, just do the check.
We made you a believer.
You just do the check. You're right. Just everyone listening, do the check.
Yes.
First off, when someone in your family gets lice or you get that dreaded school nurse call, like Kara.
Dreaded. Dreaded.
And that nurse is informing you that there's a class infestation, go get treated professionally because it helps get it out of your home and out of your heads quicker.
So we ended up going to My Hair Helpers, even though they're like 30 minutes away. I sent Brian in the car there because Molly helped me do some research and they use an enzyme-based product.
Good. I'm so glad. Perfect.
Yes. Yes. And they were very, very nice. And as we said, Brian came back as Slick Rick.
I bet. With a nice clean scalp after washing out that
very clean
enzyme.
Scalp. Yeah. He was like, I got a coconut treatment. I think it's really important to talk about what people need to know when they are looking for somewhere, if they're going to go somewhere to have their lice treated. Because I know for me, the place I was working with was much like you guys, where it was like, okay, my family had to pay for a recheck, but as long as I did it within a certain time frame, they were going to treat again, no cost. We have other families who've probably spent, I would say, like over $1,000 or you're ready. You know what I mean? For these retreatments and rechecks. What is kind of standard and what do people need to know?
Well, we tried to write our policy based on scientific facts and then, CDC recommendations. And the CDC recommends that anyone that is treated for lice get retreated. And that's smart just because especially if someone's doing it at home, it's likely they're going to miss a nit or two. And even in a clinic, if someone has a super heavy year-long case, you're probably going to miss a nit, you want to make sure it's out. So when we were writing our policy, it was important to make it fair to the patient. So the way we determined for our company that it was fair, and our franchisees also go by this, not just our corporate locations, but if someone has a light case initially, it is very unlikely that we as a professional service are going to miss anything. So we do a free recheck within 7 to 10 days. And we're checking the danger zone basically and showing the parent at the same time how to do a weekly 5-minute check to give that parent a tool to detect it right away. If they have a heavier case to begin with, they have a much greater chance of getting it back from their friends the next day or two from school from hugging and whispering. So we do a retreat in 7 to 10 days at a lower price than the initial treatment. And we still, of course, show the parent at the end how to do the 5-minute weekly check to start the next week. Again, to give them a tool to detect it right away. Regardless if it's a retreat or a recheck, they do get a 30-day guarantee. Now, usually if someone comes back within that 30 days, and what our guarantee entails is if whoever we treated gets it after the follow-up within 30 days, we give them a free treatment within that 30-day time frame. And again, it's usually just because they hug and whisper with a friend who's at home self-treating and get it again. But still, we expect the parent to do the weekly 5-minute check. And the parents are the ones that are doing a great job and find it right away within that 30 days. So when they come back, if they've gotten it from, Lulu, their friend or whoever, it's a really light case and we are able to get it out. And a lot of times, Molly will attest to this. They send us a picture of what they find. Mom will comb through at home with just our lice comb and some conditioner. And they come in thinking they're going to get that free treatment being a guarantee. And the mom got everything out during that check. And there's nothing that we find because the mom was thorough
because they're keeping up with it.
Check.
Part of our guarantee entails we want to make sure that we have actually combed and or treated everyone that's in the household.
Absolutely.
Because we can't guarantee how, if we treat one person and then mom says, well, I'm going to go home and treat everyone else, we can't guarantee the service because we aren't the ones that actually comb through. So part of that guarantee is making sure that we have actually combed through and or treated everyone in the household. We also want to make sure that the parents are doing that 5-minute weekly maintenance check, which is so important because we can't stop kids from getting lice.
Can you walk our listeners through what a weekly check looks like from top to bottom?
Sure. And we also have some videos we can post of that because I've done some how-to videos on TikTok. But the best thing to do when you have kids is do it like Molly had stated, when they're already in the shower or the tub. So what I do with my kids is I will shampoo and rinse and then load them up with conditioner and then have them come to the front of the shower. And you want to comb from behind the ear and you're scraping the scalp. You don't have to wipe after every swipe. You're just wiping as it fills up with conditioner. So behind the ear, all the way around the front hairline to the other side behind the ear and then through the crown. So kind of where you'd sit a baseball cap on your head. That's where they hug and whisper. That's where it's most likely going to start. You can do the nape if they've had a sleepover, if they might be sharing a pillow or something like that. But if you just comb that top area, what we call the danger zone, that's where you're going to find it because, again, that's where they're actually touching heads when they whisper in each other's ears or they hug.
And lice do not jump or fly. You get it from head-to-head contact. So if you ever watch kids on a playground, just watch them play for 5 or 10 minutes. Their heads are constantly touching each other because they don't have a sense of personal space. So that's why that danger zone check is so important, because typically this is where it starts.
Can we talk about like hairbrushes, like your pillows, the kids' stuffies? Because I had Froggy for Delaney. I had to make sure Froggy was okay. So I threw it in the dryer on high heat, you know what I mean, to make sure that it was okay. Then I got a little panicked and put it in a garbage bag too, just to double check.
No, it can't survive the heat of the dryer. It can't. So if you put something in the dryer for 30 minutes and it's 130 degrees or higher, there's nothing that can be alive. And then a lot of times we tell people not to boil the brushes and combs because it could melt them. And it's really not that you don't have to boil it. If you want to do the hot water, you want to go ahead and boil some water, take it off the heat.
Oh, that's what I did. I'm sorry. I didn't mean I put it in the boil. Yeah.
Yep. And then drop it in for 5 minutes. Or you can freeze it in a gallon Ziploc bag for 24 hours and then clean all the hair out, because it's the hair inside the brush that the bug could be stuck in. So if they're sharing brushes, that's how they can transfer it with sharing brushes. It's stuck in the hair of the brush.
So what you're saying, Jenny, is keep your brush to yourself.
Exactly, Kara.
But I do have a question about the specific combs, the actual lice combs. Can you explain to us a little more about why the right lice comb is important?
Definitely. I mean, number one, if you're using a plastic toothed comb, it's probably going to just comb over the nits and it's not going to drag them out. So having metal tongs is definitely key, and having tight metal tongs on the comb is even better. On our comb, for example, we've got little grooves that go up each metal tong. So those help to drag out the nits. And I know that there are several different combs like that on the market, but it's definitely key to have a professional comb that is metal with metal tongs. And yes, having grooves within them is best, because it's going to drag the nits out of the hair. And you want to do that because nothing kills them. You have to comb them all out.
Now, what's the difference between an all metal comb and a comb that's, has metal and has a plastic handle? Because not all plastic handles are made the same, correct?
Correct. Well, we used to use a comb that had a metal handle when I first started Lice Ladies, and it is a good comb. But I did notice that when sterilizing it, it would start to rust down in the base of that metal handle. And also sometimes nits or bugs would get stuck down in there. So for my comb, I wanted to still have those good metal tongs with the grooves, but I decided to close the handle with plastic so that it was easier to sanitize.
And not all plastic handles are closed.
Not all plastic handles are closed, but mine is. And again, it's just really a sanitation type thing, because we want to be sure that we're not combing a dead nit or, a dead bug, or hopefully not a live bug back into someone's hair. So we want to be able to completely sanitize the combs.
And then let's talk about the conditioner and the shampoo, because I know you guys have one too. Like, what is the purpose of that? Because I know that it doesn't kill bugs necessarily. Can you explain to us?
Sure. It aids in the prevention. So anything that's essential oil based or anything with a strong scent, lice don't like that, because they're trying to sense the blood in your scalp, because that's what they eat. They bite you kind of like a mosquito and feed on your blood out of your scalp. So if you have hair product or something with essential oils, it makes it a less warm, friendly, pleasant, blood-smelling environment, because they're not going to smell it. They're going to sense the essential oil scent, and that helps repel them. Nothing is foolproof, but it definitely helps.
And then that's the spray as well, the preventative spray, which a lot of people sell.
Right.
Correct. We've got the Lice Ladies Prevent Spray, and it's peppermint spray, so it aids in prevention. But again, it does help. Anything like that will help, but nothing's foolproof. If you rub heads with your friend, and they have 45 bugs in there, you're probably going to get one.
Or two.
Or three. So I think it's also important, what was helpful for me at least, is I had a home kit, because Jenny, you sent me one. I think like a year and a half ago, the very first time that there was an outbreak. I think that time it was at Killian's school. I got a letter and I called you, and you had sent me a kit that I have here. And we've gotten letters that there have been outbreaks at Delaney School. And I got to tell you, when I get the letter, I always have used the preventative spray. So I do believe that is helpful. What do people need to look at as far as like a home kit, and should they have one, just on hand in case, to help reduce that panic?
Absolutely. One of the things, of course, is the preventative spray, because even though nothing's foolproof, it definitely helps. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing a good lice preventative spray or hair product. For moms, dry shampoo is great. So
I
that's
heard
something
that.
you can
Dry
do,
shampoo
hair
is good.
spray. It's very good preventative because it, again, masks the scent of your blood, and it also coats your scalp with a bunch of product, which makes it harder for them to get down to your scalp to feed. So
What about gray hairspray? Because you know, us in the 40s.
it helps. It does. Anything like that will help. So, I mean, I'm always loading up with hairspray and, dry shampoo or anything like that will definitely help. But for kids, a lice preventative spray, if you have a kid, like a kid that has short hair or curly hair, mousse and gel, that helps too. So, detangler, leave-in detangler, that helps. But as far as what you want to have weekly, you want to have a good metal professional lice comb like ours, the Lice Ladies Evict comb, or another professional metal comb. And you want to have conditioner so that you can do the weekly maintenance check. And it's always a good idea to have a good repellent, shampoo on hand that will help leave in that scent or essential oil scent. And then if you buy an enzyme to have on hand to try to self-treat and get as much out as you can, the main thing is you want to make sure you're storing it at room temperature so that you don't kill the enzyme, because an enzyme is live. So that's why we tell people on the directions on the bottle is to store it at room temperature. Don't put it in extreme heat or cold, because you want that enzyme to be potent. So, but it's great to have on hand because it's non-toxic. Just like, when you found it, you were able to grab it from the counter and, foam up the hair and comb through because you already had it and you got it. Literally almost everything out yourself.
I did almost get everything out myself. And this was after I panicked and couldn't breathe and breathed in a paper bag for a little bit. I called Molly 42 times. But after I calmed down, I was glad I had the kit for sure.
Right.
I was like,
Right. Absolutely.
And when traveling, because I know now this is kind of a heavy lice season because we got all the holidays and everything. Is there anything we can think about when we go on an airplane to protect us? I know that it's a smaller chance, but are there things we can do on an airplane?
Yes. You want to wipe down your airplane seat before you sit down.
Molly, tell her the story. Tell her the story about the plane in Vegas.
Okay. So we were going to Vegas. This is probably 10 or 12 years ago. And we were going to Vegas. And, as you walk down the aisle, you kind of look at people and you're looking down at their heads or whatever. And we probably saw 5 cases of lice while we were on the plane. And, we get calls all the time from people. Hey, we're coming back home. We're traveling on an airplane and we know that we have lice. So we always tell people, make sure that you wipe down your airplane seat before you sit down. Just like a movie theater seat, make sure you wipe it down. And you can use anything. You can use a napkin. I always carry antibacterial wipes because I wipe down the entire plane seat, including the tray table when I sit down.
Me too. And then you look at it and you're like, oh,
yeah,
the color of that wipe. I know I do the same.
Yes.
Well, the lady sitting in front of us on the plane, though, we had seen her out in the seats and she was incessantly scratching. And so we were sitting kind of behind her and we could see a few bugs. And
running
who, of
around,
course, was sitting
yes,
directly in front of us on the flight. So we
didn't
watched
get it.
the bugs run through her hair. No, because we didn't touch her head. We just watched her scratch the whole time and kind of looked at the bugs running through her hair. And here we're sitting with our Lice Lady shirts on the plane. We're like, should we hand her our business card?
But I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, this is such a taboo topic. I mean, I would like someone to tell me, I'm sorry, ma'am, you have lice in your hair. But we don't live in a society where you tap someone on the shoulder and say that, because that would be offensive, right? To say like, sorry, you have lice.
Would.
Right?
We've
but
done it a few times at the
done
store.
It a few times, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it to people and they know that they've had it.
Oh, really?
And they've actually, I've said, hey, here's our business card. I'm sorry, I don't want to intrude, but I want to let you know that, I can see bugs on your child. And people are very gracious,
Oh, good.
We've never had anyone say anything nasty or anything like that. But, we're just trying to help them out, not to spread lice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you can see it and when you walk down an airplane and you saw 5 people with it, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's statistics. That means I got to believe, it could be because it was a plane to Vegas, but no.
I mean, celebrities get lice. We've talked about that before,
Yeah.
how they hug their fans and things like that. And so it's everywhere. I mean, it's more prevalent in kids, of course, because they're much more less aware. I guess they're
Right.
less aware of their personal space. So, they get it more on sets of TV shows too. We've had in Atlanta, they do a lot of filming, and we've had sets where all the kids on set had lice and they had to bring them into the clinic.
And I think real quick, we should go over like the top myths, like the color of lice and all that kind of stuff. So we can just to recap for everybody, because there are a lot of rumors out there about everything.
The top myth is that nits are white. So it's an art lesson. A nit itself is kind of sandy brown and they're oval. But when a nit is laid on a dark strand of hair or a hair with, more pigment in it, because it's lighter than the hair strand itself, it looks white. But when you wipe it onto a white paper towel and look at it against a white background to see the true color and shape, they are brown. That's why when you look at a light blonde, it looks like brown pepper sprinkled, the nits. But if you look at someone with dark hair, they look white. That's why we tell people, don't just look in the hair. Comb it off and put it against a white background, like a white paper towel, so you can actually see the shape and color. And that's how you determine exactly what it is, unless, you're a scientist and have a microscope there. But again, it would still be brown and oval when you take it off of the hair strand.
And what about the tail? Delaney was very excited because the nurse told her that you can see a tail. Can we talk about the tail?
So the tail is when the egg is getting to be a little bit more mature and ready to hatch. It kind of looks like a tail comes out of, it's almost like a sesame seed with a tail. Yeah, but it's not an actual tail. It's just that the egg is getting ready to be mature enough to hatch.
The little baby's going to be born.
Right. And when you look at it under a microscope, I teach my staff this. We look at it under the microscope and you can actually see the baby bug inside of the nit or the egg. So when it's freshly laid, you probably won't see the quote tail on the end of the egg, but when it's more mature, you'll see that.
Fascinating.
We were talking about products earlier, and let's talk about some of the old wives' tales for removing head lice and nits. Let's just talk through some of the things that we hear every day.
Yeah.
So things like Dawn dish detergent.
Oh, yeah. Why does everyone think that Dawn is the answer for everything? Do we know? Is it all because what
it
happened?
cuts oil.
Because it cuts oil. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it cuts the oil.
But it does not cut lice.
It does not cut
kill
lice.
No.
I mean, we've had people that have used olive oil, Vaseline, Dawn dish detergent, vodka, Listerine.
Vodka on the head. Oh, that's scary.
Very, very unsafe. Kerosene and have gotten third degree burns.
Wow.
Coca-Cola, different types of conditioner. I mean, literally butter. We had someone put butter in their kids' hair.
Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is a big one. That
rancid.
People think mayonnaise is the answer for everything too.
Yeah, rancid. I mean, the one time Molly literally almost threw up on top of someone's head was when a lady had been sitting in a mayonnaise shower cap for 3 days and she took it off and Molly literally dry heaved over her head and had to run out of the room.
Yeah.
Well, because the mayonnaise went
rancid.
bad. It's because there's egg. Most mayonnaise is made with egg, depending. I know there's vegan mayonnaise, but veganese, which I like, but yeah, I mean, it's going to go rancid like the food's going to go bad. I mean, mayonnaise is good for conditioning your hair for a short term for like a half hour, but not something like that.
Not for lice.
Right. And we had to tell her, ma'am, go wash your hair
and come back
and then we'll treat you.
Well, also, I mean, all that bacteria, it's unsafe, to try some of these home remedies like you're going to get something way worse than lice, right? You're going to find yourself in a situation with something that's going to be a lot worse than your lice outbreak.
I just want to take a moment and I want to remind everyone listening to please do not do any of these things at home. None of these remedies work and many of them are super unsafe and they can be harmful. So stay off TikTok and consult a professional, please.
Yes, we do not need Dr. TikToks.
Right?
The Mayo viral videos are not something to do. They are not real. They do not work.
Please, we don't want rancid mayo heads, please.
Now, can we talk about olive oil? Is it because olive oil is less porous than, like, let's say, like a thicker oil?
Yeah, it can smother bugs. It can kill a few bugs by smothering them. It's not going to kill the nits. And it's probably not going to kill all the bugs because they're going to be able to find a little spot to, get out of it. It might suspend or paralyze some of them or again, smother a few. But you have to comb the eggs out because nothing really kills them.
Why is an enzyme better than like an olive oil based product?
Because the enzyme eats the glue that the nits are stuck to the hair strands with. So it makes it a lot easier to comb everything out. It will also begin to eat the exoskeleton of the bug. And some of them are paralyzed or suspended. Some of them may die, but most of them are just paralyzed. But the most important thing is getting out all of the nits or eggs. That's why most people fail at home treatments, because if you don't comb it out, then it's going to hatch into a nymph or a baby bug. So being able to loosen the nits is very, very helpful at combing them all out. That's what the enzyme does.
So some of these myths we are also going to post on the takeaways and resources section of ogross.com for easy reference.
Don't forget to check us out on socials at It's Ogross. Then follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So all our listeners know we will be doing this for every major episode. So if we're talking about a subject matter like bed bugs, which we are going to in the future, we're going to have all the information in one place for you. We want to be the go-to place where you know that you can get correct, factual information. However, I am hoping in the future I don't have this sort of trend where everything that we talk about happens to me. I definitely don't want bed bugs.
This is not our theme song, Carrie. You're not living in the theme song. Everything in the theme song does not have to happen to you. Let's hope, or we have a serious problem.
Or we have a serious problem.
Oh, gross. That drama's about to end, 'cause gross. Stop asking for a friend. Taboos. Ick is what we do. Psoriasis, podiatrist, and pinworms too. It's so gross. No need for strife because gross. Lice is part of life. It's just science. Yeah, it's not so weird. We got the facts, nothing to fear. Oh, gross. It's just science. No, it's not weird. It's just science, nothing to fear. It's just science, so wipe those tears.